get ready, because it's time for Geek Bombast, the weekly podcast dedicated to bringing you news, reviews, and general discussion on comics, movies, TV, video games, and anything else deemed totally awesome. On the show this week is Rod Nunley, Nick Budd, and myself, John Sitton. How's it going, everybody?
I'm good.
Yeah, no, hanging in there.
Exciting.
Yeah, no, it's been a really good week, I think. A lot better than last week.
That's good.
That's not a high bar to
No. It's
jump
not
over there, John.
It's not a high bar. Things are better. I think things are on an upswing. So much so that I posted something on the website today. That today for us, sometime over the weekend, Saturday, for our listeners out there.
Yeah.
Something basically recorded a commentary track for the movie, Super Mario Brothers. My girlfriend and I, Amanda, sat down and recorded a commentary track, and I put that online for people to download. And people seem like they want to listen to it, which is
pretty cool.
I figure people have to have a copy of Super Mario Brothers, right?
I've got like 10.
You have. Here's the thing. If you don't have one, you're not gonna find one.
That's actually not true.
That's actually not true. You can find.
You can go to Walmart.
Yeah.
Really?
Not joking. For some reason, I have 2 copies of the movie.
Why do you have 2 copies?
One is shrink wrapped still. I don't know where this.
Did you think you did not own it? Therefore,
No,
I've done that.
No, I think someone bought it for me, thinking I didn't own it.
That's foolish.
And then it was like, well, I've got 2
obviously
copies.
don't know
Here,
you, John.
just put it on the shelf. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it.
I can't see. I actively cannot have my DVDs if I own them. They can't be still shrink wrap.
Oh no, I'm the same way. Like
they have to be on.
However, I have 1 or 2 movies that maybe I haven't opened.
I tend to leave them shrink wrapped as a notification to me that I haven't watched that DVD yet.
I hate to admit this, but I think I own a copy of American Psycho, and I've never opened. I've seen the movie a bunch of times, but I just don't think I've ever opened it to watch it. Which means maybe I shouldn't have bought it because it's not something I watch a lot.
Well, and kind of on that same token, like when I was arranging my DVD shelf, I discovered that I have a copy of Ronin that I've never watched, like a special edition. The
Robert De Niro thing?
Yeah, the Robert De Niro, Jean Reno. Great movie.
Enjoyed it.
Love it. Bought the special edition. I could have swore I've opened it and watched it, but apparently it's still shrink wrapped. So I'm like, did I not watch this DVD? How did that happen? Why have I not watched this DVD?
I need to watch that on Blu-ray.
But
you can watch Robert De Niro pulling a pull.
Yeah, but Super Mario Brothers.
I was a squeamish scene for me.
Yeah, it is. But going to the point, people can go listen to Super Mario Brothers. I'm not sure if the movie's on Netflix, but if it is, I'm sure you can sync it with a Netflix viewing.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to make this something regular. That I'm going to be posting on the site. It's not going to be part of the iTunes feed, so you folks out there who are listening to us through iTunes, you do have to go to our website to get the file. And the main reason for that is I figure not everyone wants it, so I'm not going to have it cluttering.
It is not on Netflix.
No.
You can watch the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Okay. That's something completely different.
The 9 Lives of Mary and Barry.
I don't know what that is.
Pulled up when I typed in Mario.
Oh. But yeah, no, I just felt that that it didn't need to be cluttering our iTunes feed, especially considering we only have 2 episodes on there at a time.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'll be doing more. Some will be with Amanda. I figure at some point, the 3 of us will do one, or one of us and or 2 of us, or some combination.
I can guess what the next movie is going to be for you. Surf Ninjas.
No. I'm actually holding off on that one. No.
It's a lot of prep time for Surf Ninjas.
It's possible the next one may be Supergirl.
Oh, with Helen Slater?
Helen Slater, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It might be
Who's the villain in that movie? Who's the evil woman?
I don't remember. I have it on DVD and I don't remember.
Stumped him. I don't remember either.
But
it was someone sort of famous.
Yeah, she was like a kind of yeah. But
Faye Dunaway.
There you go. But yeah, so that might be the next one because that's a movie that Amanda really likes. So we're probably gonna watch that, and then I've got a stack of DVDs that are primed waiting, just either for me to ask certain people that I have in mind that I want to do them with, or just waiting for me to get the urge to watch them again and do a commentary.
And no Peter O'Toole was in that movie?
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
But yeah, so I figured that's cool. I'd give it a little bit of a plug here.
Hey, did anyone on Facebook talk to us this week?
We actually had a lot of people on Facebook, but before we go to Facebook, I'm actually going to talk about people who sent us emails.
Holy shit!
Which is a rarity.
Special.
One person sent us 2 emails. And the thing that sucked is he sent these emails an hour after we finished recording last week.
Oh.
So these have been, I'm sure he
Get on the
saw
ball,
the new
man.
episode. I'm so sure he saw the new episode. We didn't talk about my email. But it's okay. Thomas Blake emailed us. The first email says, "Hey Geek Bombast, first, I want to post a little correction to what Randy said about Darkseid in 2 episodes ago, essentially by this point. He said Darkseid wasn't part of Superman's rogue gallery till after John Byrne left. Actually, Darkseid appeared during Byrne's run in Superman number 3. This story was a 3-issue arc from Superman 3 to Adventures of Superman number 426 and continued in Action Comics 586. So he
Randy got schooled.
Someone got schooled, yeah. He's schooled.
So he's saying it is a Superman villain.
He's saying that Darkseid was used as a Superman villain in Byrne's run.
All right, fair enough.
Now, and he also continues on with his thoughts of The Hangover 3, which he said, "I was bored watching this film. What I liked about the first 2 movies was the craziness and the random humor. Hangover 3 had none of the familiar humor and craziness. The main gag in the Hangover franchise has always consisted of the Wolfpack getting drunk and blacked out, one of the Wolfpack having something done to their bodies, a friend or family member being kidnapped, the Wolfpack having to find the missing person by figuring out what happened the night before. Hangover 3 kept the kidnap part and took the drunk element out. I felt this hurt the movie. Most of the comedy streams from the aftermath of the drunken stupor. What's irritating is the movie we should have seen we got in the end credits, which is kind of what everyone says about the first movie. Is that
I feel like his argument gets invalidated just a little bit because he said what I liked about the first and second movie, and there was nothing to like about the second movie. Except for the fact that it was exactly the same as the first movie.
I can't comment. I actually actively heard bad things about it. I didn't see it. I liked the first one.
1 is really funny. 2 is a weak retread of the exact
I honestly
same
don't want to
Yeah.
weaken the first one by watching inferior films. Therefore, I'll stick with that.
Yeah, and then he also says one more thing. Ken Jeong needs to take a break from acting for a while. After watching Community Season 4 and this film, I've grown tired of his crazy Asian stereotype shtick. He needs to reinvent himself or do some independent work for a bit. Overall, this was a bad movie and should not be seen by anyone."
I won't necessarily agree with that last sentence because I haven't seen the third movie, and my guess is it's more of the same. Clearly, based on the box office, that seems to be the case.
Yeah.
In regards to Ken Jeong, you cannot blame Community Season 4 on Ken Jeong. That was not his fault.
Yeah.
He was paid.
Those actors are
He was
just
paid
doing
to
what
do
they-
the best he could with what he was given.
Yeah, no, I agree. He also then sent us a second email,
Oh my goodness.
which says, "Just writing in for my thoughts on Fast and Furious 6.
Yeah.
It seems like Justin Lin took the physics rule book and threw it in the corner.
Not
I
the
guess
window,
not
that's
so
the
much out the
phrase.
window, but in the corner.
Well,
So
He was in the room at least.
It's
in the room.
It's just not
Just
anywhere near it.
discarded.
That's not a knock against the movie. I embraced the craziness this film had. Going to the film, I expected to see high amounts of physical action, car stunts, witty lines, and hot women. I got all 4 of those and more. So I walked out pretty happy. If I get a chance, I will see it again. After seeing the scene during the end credits, I will be in the theater for Fast and Furious 7. Here's to hoping they're not going to take a dark turn with the next film." I don't know
How could you
are they
go dark
insinuating
with
that they're going to do a dark turn with the next film?
Uh,
Don't spoil it.
I'm
I
not
don't wanna-
spoiling
I don't
Just
wanna-
say
anything.
yes or no.
Maybe.
Okay. All right.
But it's fitting with the entire what we've already gotten.
Yeah,
So
okay,
it's
okay.
not like.
All right.
And half the fun is throwing the physics thing out the window.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
come on.
But apparently, it just got thrown in the corner. Not on the
Okay, I'm wrong. It was bad. It's
Okay.
it's in the corner.
And also, surprisingly, earlier today, Jose A. Rivera emailed us. Says, "Hey guys, a couple of episodes ago you talked about Superman's somewhat lackluster rogues gallery. I'm going to have to get to respectfully disagree. Granted, I'm a little biased as that I'm a lifelong Superman fan, but I think Superman has a fine rogues gallery. Sure, they're not as respected as the Flash or Batman's villains, but there's a lot more than just the ones you named. Yeah, we all know Lex Luthor, Brainiac, and General Zod, but there's also Metallo, Bizarro, Mr. Mxyzptlk, Cyborg Superman, Darkseid, who technically counts as a Superman villain as he was debuted in Jimmy Olsen's comic, Parasite, the Prankster, Toyman, Solomon Grundy, though he tends to bounce from hero to hero, and even, yes, Doomsday."
I'm sorry. Your argument is invalid. You use Toyman as an example.
And the
Toyman?
Prankster.
Toyman can be used well. They all can be used well. I will say Superman compared to some of the other superheroes, his villains are not awful.
He's an A-list character. He is, some would say, arguably, the A-list character. He shouldn't have the Flash, a B or C level character at best. B, I think, but some could argue C. Should not have a better rogues gallery. Period.
That's just because they get treated better.
Yeah.
They've been built up better.
Well, they should do the same thing. Why isn't Jeff Jones on Superman? That's weird.
Because Scott Snyder will be on Superman.
Yeah. No, well, that's hopefully just as good.
And because the point here is that any of these characters could be done in a movie. All it takes is the right idea and a good writer.
I am not putting money down for the Toyman Superman movie. I gotta tell you. I might skip that one.
Some say his villains are too ridiculous or too powerful to be made for film, but then again, did you ever think you'd see Destroyer or Thor or Thanos in the Avengers?
Absolutely. I couldn't wait to see the Destroyer in the Thor movie.
All it takes is a writer with a good idea and an interesting take on the character to translate them to film. This is why I'm hoping Man of Steel does really well.
Sorry, go ahead.
I want to see other villains besides Zod and Lex Luthor in a Superman film. And keep up the good work.
I agree with that. I think I want to see different villains. And I will say, he did name some villains. I was like, oh yeah, those are Superman villains. Cyborg Superman's pretty cool. Metallo's pretty cool. I think we mentioned Parasite, but I think Parasite's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I like Parasite.
So more than I remembered, for sure.
Me and Bizarro.
Yeah.
That's right.
But as you said, as you did mention though, Solomon Grundy started off as a Green Lantern villain.
I heard
and
he was
then
born on a
became more
Wednesday.
of a...
No, wait, that's not right.
Born on a Monday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But yeah, he
was started on Green Lantern
and he
from
kind
Slaughter
of became
Swamp.
and he kind of became a little bit more of a Batman villain.
Well, Slaughter Swamp is right outside of Gotham,
Yeah.
which was where Alan Scott originally came from. So.
Yeah, so then he kind of became a Batman villain, and
Yep.
then he bounced around to everybody else.
Yep.
Depending on which version of Grundy you get.
Right.
Because as they've established, every time he
changes.
dies, he comes back as a new version of Grundy.
It's a cool little thing.
Yeah, but we do have some Facebook comments.
Some Facebookery.
Some Facebookery going on. If I can actually pull up the Facebook.
Hi, Facebook.
I've got it.
You got one? Okay,
All right,
go for it.
so first of all, we got Tom Martin. He messaged us directly and said, hey guys, I've been reading Deathstroke and the first trade of his new 52 adventures, and I like the character a lot. Since your recent episode, you've been giving some good advice on what to read sections on the Green Lantern and the Flash. I was wondering if you could do the same for me and what to read trade-wise for Deathstroke. Thanks for keeping on geeking. Oh, thanks and keep on geeking. But
I gotta tell you, I think, honestly, I've not read a ton of Deathstroke. I think I only have one book that I can think of, and it's not a Deathstroke.
it's a Teen Titans book.
Teen Titans Judas Contract.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That is-
Judas Contract is
that
the
is the
book you
one.
get. So
That is the best one. I actually thought the New 52 stuff was fun. I liked it. I own it.
yeah.
Because I like just sort of the action adventure.
I remember really liking the first issue. I thought it was kind of fun.
Yeah, that's all
but
it
I
really
haven't
is.
kept up with it.
But as for other Deathstroke, I mean his main series, it was Deathstroke the Terminator. I don't know if you can actually probably find it on Comixology or something like that.
Yeah.
But I remember that being.
Bargain bins, my friend. Hit
Yeah.
your local comic store. They've
Yeah.
got back issues. I guarantee you a bunch of those are in bargain bins.
But I remember enjoying it when I was reading. I don't know if it'll hold up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wasn't he also featured for a while in the 90s? He was pretty prominent in the Superman books.
He mainly became more of a Green Arrow villain.
Was he?
Yeah,
he was
Green
a
Arrow and Batman.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And he showed up a lot in like Judd Winnick's Green Arrow and
Yeah.
things like that.
Yeah.
So he's had moments.
Yeah.
And of course,
It's a cool character.
And he's also in the Green Lantern TV series.
Yes, he is an Arrow, which I have not watched beyond the first episode.
It gets
I know.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but it got better, and then I stopped watching TV altogether. So next up, Bob Bird sends us a message, which I guess is more for me, and this will be a quick answer because I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. But his question is, what is the best Halo game on the market? I'm going to say Halo 4. Let's move on.
I'm going to agree with that simply because I've never played any of them.
No, I just think the company that was working on Halo 4 took everything that Bungie made great and improved on it in ways that Bungie seemed not capable. And that's not to say that the previous games weren't good, just it's better.
Yeah, there you go. Halo 4, rock on.
Halo 4. So Jordan Worth Cobb says, hello Geek Bombast. After having a discussion with a friend this week, me and her came to the realization that the Mad Hatter is a very underrated and underutilized villain. I was wondering if you agree, and what other villains do you feel are underrated or are underutilized? Also, keep up the great podcast work. I'm enjoying every episode. And to me, the first answer comes to Toyman, right?
Right, he is the toy man of the Batman universe.
Well, underused is not actually the case, considering he's been the main villain for Batman and Dark Knight right now for, I think, coming up on 6, maybe 7 issues.
Yeah.
Really?
Good old Jervis Tetch.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the. I mean, he had a pretty good run in appearance in the Batman the Animated Series.
Oh,
I was going to say, for me, that's where he worked the best.
Yeah, he did.
And then he's had. I mean, he was also in what was it? Gail Simone's one of her runs.
Birds of Prey or something.
It was the
Secret Six.
Secret Six.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the members, and then a villain, and then
he was a lot of fun in that book.
Yeah, he was.
I just couldn't remember if it was Secret Six or if it was the one before that, the Suicide
wasn't-
Squad.
It wasn't Villains United or anything.
Well, no, Suicide Squad or whatever it was. Didn't she write it? Because Secret Six started as a suicide.
It started out of Villains United and then spun into Secret Six, if I'm not mistaken.
It's getting awful nerdy in here.
Okay. I don't know. I read all of the books at that time, so
Yeah.
I don't know. But
It's true. That was when John was reading everything.
it was. It's crazy.
Yeah.
What other villains do we think are actually underutilized or underrated? Paste Pot Pete.
Well, Baseball Pete could be fun.
No, he's now under some other name.
The Melter.
Is it that his name now? The Melter?
No, I might be getting that wrong. That might be another Iron Man villain. Crap, I can't remember his name.
Because I think Bendis renamed him because he didn't like the name Paste Pot Pete.
How could you not like Paste Pot Pete? That's like...
So.
I might have to say...
Four Bushman. I don't really know if he's a villain though.
He's not. I don't believe.
I think certain creators get the kind of Jones for their villains and like to use them, and I like the Owl, which I know my friend Dave would love if he was used better. I mean, Bendis did use him well in Daredevil.
Yeah, I thought he was.
But he's shown up occasionally in like an Age of Ultron and things like that, and he's just kind of.
Who hasn't been used really well recently? I'm not up to date on current Daredevil. Kingpin hasn't been used really well.
Well,
since I last.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like him to come back. I think he's a really great villain.
But I don't want him in Daredevil. I want him in like Spider-Man.
I agree with that actually. I think he's a great foil.
I think the character of Wilson
Spider-Man.
Fisk should come out, but I don't think he should be referred to as the Kingpin because of the fact of the way he was ousted of being Kingpin in Daredevil. And I'm trying to. For a second there, I thought maybe he might have been killed off in the Dark Devil, Daredevil. Whatever the heck it was called.
Shadowland?
Yeah, Shadowland.
Oh,
But then no, he wasn't. I didn't think about that for a
We
second.
all try to forget about that. So.
But I wouldn't mind seeing Wilson Fisk kind of trying to rebuild, but not necessarily in Hell's Kitchen or in New York, but maybe right outside of New York or to the move him a little bit over to the left to keep him off of Daredevil's radar.
Yeah,
there's a lot. There's a laundry list of good villains to use, and I'd love to see Tombstone. I think he's actually being used in Gambit of all places nowadays, which I like the pairing.
Jigsaw.
What? Jigsaw?
Him used in a long time. The movie kind of killed him.
What about people like Fool Killer? Where is he? Where is he?
He's off to the side.
Or Crossfire. Now I get a lot of blank stares.
They should really bring back the Lizard.
Do you not know who Crossfire
No, not the
is?
Lizard.
No.
Who was the villain in that Todd McFarlane Spider-Man initial run?
The Lizard was the first one.
Was it the Lizard I was thinking of?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
All right.
Yeah,
fair
pretty
enough.
sure.
He's not.
It was Todd McFarlane, so it didn't look anything like the Lizard from any other comic.
I'm also trying to think of good DC villains.
Well, you can never go wrong with people like Captain Boomerang.
Well, yeah, I mean, but they get their moment. They all the rogues get their moment.
Yeah, that's true. DC villains that are underutilized.
I just don't think there are any that are they're only the thing about villains is they suck. unless there's a good writer. So it's not about underutilizing the villain. It's just about having the right writer with the right character. You know, there
are plenty of examples where a good writers have monumentally fucked up a good villain.
Recently, I can mention Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. I know you were real upset with that. That's true.
I didn't like how Snyder. That was like the one thing Snyder's written that I've been kind of like.
Yeah, that was the one.
I don't like how that was handled. Yeah.
And what's his name? Ruined Joker. Not Snyder, but the guy who chopped off his face. I don't like that.
Well, I think that was all part of the plan.
I don't. I think he did it, and then Scott Snyder had to come along and clean up the mess.
All right. Well, next up, Isaac Ratena basically just says, "Just finished Superman: Secret Identity, and
You're welcome.
Wow, thanks for the recommendation. I didn't know what I was getting into when I picked it up, but once I did, I couldn't put it down." And like Rod said,
you're welcome.
Yeah, seriously, that book's awesome.
And then Jonathan Doom Snyder says, "Hello, Geek Bombast and fans of Geek Bombast. I watched the 1-hour preview of Avengers Assemble last week and thought it was a really mediocre overall. Was wondering, what are your opinions on the preview if you've seen it?" I have no idea what he's talking about.
There's a new Avengers animated series coming out.
Okay. Apparently I haven't seen it.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen the preview.
Neither have I.
But
I liked the last iteration of the Avengers, even though that opening song was god awful and the Jack Black.
I didn't like the Jack Black thing. I just couldn't move past.
There were great stories, great.
Couldn't move past it. Every time he opened his mouth, I was like, "Is he gonna skidly-doo?" Like,
But you should have, because there were great things in there. The way they tied a lot of that stuff together was interesting.
And that intro song, for God's sake.
Well, that's why.
I was trying to be
that's
Linkin
why
Park.
we have a fast forward.
It was like 1993 all over again.
It was Linkin Park style music.
Apparently, that's popular with kids these days.
But that I do want to say that's all the questions, comments, and all
Hey,
that
let's
stuff.
get to news, man.
Okay. Alright, so we're at like 22 minutes, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn through news. I'm gonna burn through it. Burn through it.
Alright. And go.
Alright, guys, we got some news. First up, Guardians of the Galaxy. Who here likes Doctor Who?
I like Doctor Who.
I also like Doctor Who.
Alright, so apparently the Hollywood Reporter is saying that Doctor Who's recent companion, Karen Gillan, has signed on to James Gunn and Marvel's increasingly more promising Guardians of the Galaxy, coming on the heels of the scoop that Glenn Close will be playing the Guardians' superior. So we've got 2 new casting pieces from that movie. How do we feel about these casts?
Having Glenn Close in there is awesome.
Yes.
She will bring a great weight to it. And,
Yes.
something that the cast is missing. Like, how Thor had Anthony Hopkins, as sort of for Odin.
Yeah.
Now they have Glenn Close as the head of the Nova Corps, or whatever she
Well,
needs to be.
and I've heard that Karen Gillan is playing a villain.
She's playing the female villain character.
Which...
And I've
Who
heard...
they have not named yet.
Yeah.
The rumor is Mephisto's daughter.
Okay.
Which would be interesting.
Oh god, that ties it back to Ghost Rider.
That would be awesome. That's the closing cameo at the end of the movie.
No,
he's just going to be peeing all over the tree, all over Groot.
Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
No, that just means Mephisto's out there.
All right. Now, so last week, I believe it was last week, we talked about we talked about my little Expendables thing, because I like to talk about Expendables because I think they're ridiculous. You know what it is?
Ridiculously awesome.
You know what it is? It's the one series of movies that are truly bad that I just give them a pass. I don't care. Like, they're bad. I know they're bad, and it's my John moment where I just appreciate how awful it is and how amazing that is.
I appreciate that you called it a John moment.
Yes,
but
because you like things that you relish a lot of times in things that are cheesy and awful, and you enjoy them.
Yes.
For their cheesiness and awesomeness.
In this case, I think that this movie deserves a pass more than others because they don't set out to be anything more than they are.
Right.
It's very much like, hey, do you remember all those really bad 80s movies starring action stars that were just amazing and terrible all at the same time? Well, we've actually got all those movie stars together in one place.
And we need them all because they're all moving a little slower. But they're all here. So they've cast, apparently, Lionsgate CEO John Feltheimer told analysts this morning that Jackie Chan, Wesley Snipes, Nicolas Cage, and Mila Jovovich are in advanced negotiations to join Expendables 3. It's not a done deal yet, but it is fastly moving in that direction.
Is this in along with all the other people who.
Well, John was saying before we started recording that I guess the rumor of
Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal got nixed, kind of got shot down
At
by
least that's what I
Stallone.
heard. I mean, I could be
Stallone.
wrong. He could
Right.
still be part of it for all I know.
I would imagine that would have been mentioned in this article I'm reading.
But I mean,
so,
you get all those people plus Dolph Lundgren and
you
all
know,
that craziness.
I'm sorry. Yeah, if you've got Nicolas Cage in there, it's going to be over the top and awesome. I really hope he's the villain.
Well, that's the one way to get me to watch your movie.
Put Nicolas Cage in it?
Because I have yet to be
I
really.
really hope that Nicolas Cage is the villain. I think that would be fantastic.
Well, I think that would. Yeah, he's great as a villain, as Face Off has shown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So let's jump a little bit to some sad news. The Independent, which is an online paper thing. I think it's English. I'm not sure. But the search for a new doctor is on after the BBC announced that Matt Smith is to leave the show at the end of the year. The 30-year-old who stepped into the role as a relative unknown in 2009 said playing the 11th Doctor has been the most brilliant experience. The corporation said he would see the show through until the end of the Christmas special. He's been wielding the sonic screwdriver for 4 years now.
Yeah.
How do we feel about this, guys? Is this super sad news or only sort of sad news?
I'm okay with it. I like Matt Smith,
And he had a
but
good run.
the Doctors have their stories too, and I think that we've kind of got Matt Smith's.
Well, I mean, I think, here's the thing. I'm saddened by it, yes. And at the same time, I think I'm with you. I don't mind that we're getting a new Doctor.
Right.
How many does that make now?
This will be the 12th, which is the final
Maybe.
Doctor.
Maybe.
Or maybe. Who knows?
Because if rumors, and I'm not saying what they are, if rumors of the 50th anniversary episode are to be believed, that may not actually be true.
Okay.
Right, they've got to retcon that. I mean, they know at this point, we're coming up on our last Doctor, we got to change this or something weird is going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Wibbly wobbly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, I'm more surprised by this because literally just a few weeks ago, Matt Smith in an interview said, "No, I'm on for at least one more season."
Yeah, he's an actor. He's got to say what he's got to say.
And it was just kind of weird to kind of not even a month to go by, and suddenly it's nope, he's gone in 2 episodes.
So that's sad news.
It is.
Let's end this news
But
section.
It's not sad in that somewhere out there,
I know
there's
somebody.
there's
who's the new
someone
Doctor
who
Who.
doesn't know he's the new Doctor Who. I'm hoping it's me.
Let's end on a solid note here for news. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Harmon tweeted confirmation this last Saturday that he will indeed be returning to Community. Yes, 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 I'm back, I'm back, I'm back. Harmon wrote in a response to a fan's demand for a straight answer regarding his return. You can thank @Joe McHale, he said. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Harmon is in the process of formalizing his deal with the show's producer, Sony Pictures Television, to come back to the Community as showrunner for the 5th season. Rumors began last weekend when Harmon told an audience gathered for his Harmontown podcast that he was asked to return to the show. He was asked from Community last May after a public feud with former cast member, Chevy Chase. Responding to the news of Harmon's return, Community star Gillian Jacobs offered some words of appreciation to the show's creator. "Welcome back Dan Harmon," she tweeted, "E pluribus anus." For those that are fans of the show, that's very funny.
Wow.
Super excited news.
I just want to know if he's gonna just completely ignore.
He's got to do like a Dallas dream sequence or an Abed mind. I mean,
Something.
right? He's got to write it off. I was saying before we recorded that to me, I didn't hate season 4. It wasn't a train wreck, which it could have very easily have been, but it did to me feel like a fan fiction version of the show.
Yeah.
It had its moments. There were bits of strong writing, because there were moments in the show where
Because I mean, some of the writers that were still on the show were working.
and
on
you
their
could
department.
see kind of here and there bits and
But-
pieces of that kind of brilliance pop up, but it was
Dan Harmon-
mostly
Yeah. Dan Harmon is insane, and
right.
it's
and his
brilliant.
insanity is what makes it brilliant.
Yeah.
It definitely was weakened dramatically. I mean, it had to have been. Sony went back to Dan Harmon, a guy they hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Clearly.
Yeah. We're inching towards the 6 seasons of the movie.
It's coming up, man. It's coming up. There were all sorts of nods to that. I will say I did like the season ender. Actually, I thought that the season finale this season was stronger than some of the
I
other
watched
episodes.
2 episodes and I was out. So
There's stuff in there. There is some truly one of the worst episodes ever of the entire series is in that season. The Doctor Inspector Spacetime episode where they go to the convention, I thought was atrocious. But I thought the last episode they did some kind of fun stuff. But not that it matters because Dan Harmon's going to wipe all that out of existence starting with season 5, right? I mean, he has to. So
I think it would be funny if he basically says, "No, it all happened. I'm not removing any of it.
It's super exciting. Anything. I thought it was. I couldn't be happier. Couldn't have happened to a better show. That's it with news, man. I'm done.
Okay, we're done with news then.
All right.
Wow.
Let's get to some reviews, sir.
We're at 30 minutes. That actually went by quick.
I told you I'm going to burn through news.
All right. So review-wise, we'll do Arrested Development.
Yep.
Absolute Top 10.
Yep.
X-Men #1.
Yep.
And then we'll end with The Wake #1.
Sure.
Oh, and
is there something we all read? Did we
one.
all read X-Men #1?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that last?
Okay.
Because it's something we all
Did
read.
you not read The Wake?
I did not. I missed it. I've got to pick it up.
I honestly, when you said earlier, I thought you said you didn't read X-Men #1.
No, you scratch that, reverse it.
Yeah. So.
You read X-Men, didn't read Wake.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah. And then, but before when I hit record, we're gonna announce the rating system.
Oh.
Which.
Do it. I gotta pull that up so I have it in front of me so I can remember it.
Yep.
Got it.
All right. Why am I reaching over there?
Beats me, man. You crazy.
All right. So before we actually get into the reviews, folks, we got a bit of almost an announcement, but
it's a change. It's a dramatic change that's going to upset everyone.
Yes.
No, it's not.
It's
neither of those things.
Get ready to flip your table. Is that what you're saying?
That's right. Put your hands under the table. Get ready to flip it.
Assume the position.
Funny.
That means something different.
Yeah, that's different. But no, actually, I think this is going to make a lot of people happy because a lot of our fans have constantly told us, why don't you guys have a rating system?
And we didn't listen to them, but we did listen to a friend of ours.
Well, we could have, sort of. We technically had a rating system, but a friend of ours kind of helped us inadvertently flesh it out. So essentially, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 point rating system.
That's correct.
Essentially, and
I like how you did that kind of Sesame Street style where you counted up to it.
1, 2. Yeah. No. So we have a 6 point rating system. The highest rating we can give anything is our bombastic seal of approval, which we've had for a long time. It is our seal, the musician, writing a seal, giving the thumbs up.
We'll have to post that on our Facebook page if we haven't already.
It may actually be on our Facebook page.
You should look. You should look. People. Look.
Yeah,
not you, John. Our listeners.
Okay.
Look for me, listeners.
Yes.
I'm too lazy to do it.
But this is something that's so good that it's perfect.
Best of the best.
That's what it means. So
doesn't get any better.
So this is going to be one of those things that we may not give all the time. This is only for those.
I can tell you, I have one for today. But go ahead.
Yeah. Next down would be obviously buy it, which means it's worth the full price of admission, regardless if it's a comic, a movie, TV show, whatever. I guess it doesn't really work for TV show, but maybe it means.
Well, no, it's time. And sometimes you don't want to spend that hour watching a television show.
The next one down is bargain bin it, which essentially means go get it at a cheaper price. Hit up the bargain bin wherever it is that you see a bargain bin.
See it at the dollar cinema, not full price.
Yeah.
Borrow it from, well, not borrow it, but you know, see it, don't pay full price.
Yeah. The next one being borrow it, which is it's not worth paying for, but if you know someone that has it, you need to read it. The next one being blow it off, which is not worthy of any attention whatsoever, just stop. And then finally...
But you would think that would be it, but that's not it.
There's one
we
last.
take it one step further.
You gotta take it one step further, which the final one is burn it.
Kill it with fire.
Kill it with fire, it shouldn't exist, get it out of our hands. So this is our bombastic B rating system.
We'll post that on our Facebook
We will post this on our Facebook. I will probably try to make some type of handy dandy graphical image to explain it all.
John loves his charts.
I do love my charts.
Now I just see, little versions of us on fire.
Now I want to see little versions of us on fire. That would be awesome.
Fans out there, if you have artistic skills,
set us on fire.
Set us on fire. Well, not really.
Yeah, this is your chance.
Set little TV versions of us on fire.
All right.
Yeah.
So we'll be posting that, but we're going to begin doing that rating system today, right now, right very moment. Here we go.
With the first review, which is a new show on Netflix. which technically is a returning show.
Regale us with interesting
Yeah, so
facts.
this is just me talking about this. All right,
Yes,
this
it
is crazy that you guys have not watched this yet. We're, of course, talking about the Netflix semi-original series, Arrested Development. Obviously, if you don't know what Arrested Development is, take your head out of your ass. I don't know what to say about that. It's Jason Bateman, Michael Cera, and everyone else on the planet. Will Arnett, Portia de Rossi, just on and on and on. It is the return. It is season 4 of the series. It has been posted on Netflix. It's been on for about a week and a half or so now. I'll tell you, I am not done with it. I have not finished watching it because I am taking my time.
You're pacing?
I am pacing myself. We're doing an episode every couple of days. We're about 6 episodes in. And
13 episodes, you can blow through that pretty quickly.
Yes, you can burn through them very fast. So let me ask you guys this. So I'm going to do for those who are listening, I'm going to do a very non-spoiler review. So if you have not seen it yet, you do not have to turn off the podcast or put your fingers in your ears or whatever, because I won't be spoiling anything. Let me ask you guys. We're fans of the original show?
Yes.
Yes?
Not really.
John's not a huge fan of it. Let me ask you then, because you're a fan of it.
Yes.
Did you like how layered and intricate it was?
Yes.
Okay, you will love this. The one thing that I will say, because there's that fear of it's coming back, it's going to be different, it's not going to be the same. It's been several years since it's been
going
on.
to have the same spark.
It is not exactly the same. It definitely feels different. First of all, in these episodes, from the first episode to the last episode, and this is not a spoiler, if you look at the timeline, there is about a decade that goes by, close to it. It is a long expanse of time that this show takes place in. And what they've done is, with this series, is each episode focuses on one character. Now, the other characters can or may not be in the episode, but the focus is, like the narration at the beginning of the show, instead of saying this is Arrested Development, they'll say this is Lindsay's Arrested Development. And the episode will focus on Lindsay for the entire episode. By the way, they're a half hour each. It's 33 minutes apiece, no commercials, so it's a full 33 minutes, which I liked.
Yes. Is it still Ron Howard doing?
Yes, it is still Ron Howard. As a matter of fact, not a spoiler, he is in the television show. You see him on camera.
Oh, God.
Does it explain him doing the monologue?
No comment. So, the other thing I will tell you is, speaking of Ron Howard, cameos abound. There are more cameos in this series than anything I've ever seen ever. There are so many people in it. Kristen Wiig, Seth Rogen.
Which they play the younger version.
They play the parents younger, George Sr. and the wife. I could go on and on. I don't want to whatever with too many. But there are a ton of cameos. The episode I watched just today, they featured a very long Terry Crews.
Yeah.
Black muscle guy.
Yeah.
Terry Crews is in it. Anyway, lots of really big names in the show. Not that Terry Crews is a huge name, but lots of big name people in it. He's really great in it. Actually, he's fantastic in it. I liked him a lot. So the way that it feels different is, it is even more intricate and more layered than it has been in the past. There are literally scenes that you are watching in one character's episode where you will see the scene for another character going on in the background that was 3 episodes previous. Or you'll be watching the one scene and then 2 episodes later you'll see that scene in the background of the scene. It's insane. Like the in-jokes, which they're famous for, it's like times 10. I swear to God, the creator, Michael Hurwitz, had to have sat down with his writers, and I mean, they must have done like a beautiful mind chart thing with the string posts all over the walls and stuff. I mean, it is.
Who hasn't wanted to create one of those?
You will have to watch this show to get 75% of the references would probably take 3 viewings. Like, it is super intricate. That is really awesome. It can sort of be a detriment because it is dense. And because it's a little longer, it's not 22 minutes. It's a very dense 33 minutes of show.
So you're telling me one word: rewatch.
I think, yeah, I mean, based on our system, I'm going to say that it is worth full price and buy it if you're a fan of the original show. And you're going to need to get on there and watch it a couple of times. It's really, really good. And I liked it quite a bit.
And I've heard rumors that Netflix is so happy with the turnout of the show that they may even be greenlighting another season.
I would love it. I would love it if they do. I couldn't have been happier. I mean, it's like they took what I liked about Arrested Development and they not kicked it up a notch. And I love that. Now, I will say,
a long time in the works. I mean, it's been talked about.
Clearly, he has been thinking about it for a long time.
So he's had a while to sort of.
And they've brought everybody back. Steve Holt's in it. Anne, George Michael's bland girlfriend, is in it prominently. It's pretty fantastic.
Come on, you're getting more Jessica Walters.
It's like they just got the band back together, and it's really well done. I really enjoyed it. So the only thing I will say, I actually do have one complaint. The first episode is a little awkward. They do change something. So the main character, Jason Bateman's character, they change where he's at in life. And instead of kind of being in the original series, he was kind of the everyman that you identified with his crazy family. They sort of turn him into another crazy. He kind of goes a little crazy. For me, it was hard to get through that first episode because he's your touchstone throughout the 3 previous seasons, and suddenly he's kind of just as out there as the rest of them. And that was a little tough to get through. Once you get into like the 2nd and 3rd episodes, it is much easier to get through that, and you kind of get used to it, and it didn't bother me as much. But yeah, that first episode, don't give it at least 2 episodes, because the first episode is the toughest of the ones to kind of get
But
through.
you're giving it the buy it.
I'm giving it the buy it. All right, what's next?
All right, so next up is a book that both of you read, and is actually in front of us. 2 copies are in front of us right now.
Which means we could sink a ship with it.
Pretty much.
Because it's huge.
I think it actually is the biggest Absolute Edition that I own, but I've seen
it might be the biggest Absolute Edition, period.
Yeah, this is the top 10 Absolute Edition. Alan Moore.
Gene
Sandra
Haas,
Cannon.
Sandra Cannon,
Yeah.
and Dear God.
It's all of it.
It's
collects
got top 10 season 1 and 2.
Yes, yes.
Smacks.
Yes.
49ers.
49ers, which I have not read the 49ers yet. Look at the size of this thing. I haven't finished getting through it yet.
Yeah.
It's a bit much to read.
I mean,
it's huge.
I plowed through it last night.
Yeah.
It was really good. And I actually never read the 49ers or Smacks. And
I've read Smacks, and I like Smacks. I have not read the 49ers, and I'm waiting to get to it in this book. But I've read most of it.
A lot of people might argue this is Alan Moore's best. Personally, I think League is still my favorite.
Oh no, I like this way more than
Yeah, no, I understand that. I love this story, though. It's
you know what it is for me, and I hate to say this because I really do genuinely like this other book that I'm going to compare it to.
Yes.
But kind of just based on what I wanted it to be in my head, this is kind of what I wanted Powers to be. I hate to say it, but it's the police procedural that I was promised when you told me about Powers, and it's fantastic.
And you know who let you down?
Brian
Michael
I
Bendis.
know.
No, and honestly, are you traditionally an Alan Moore fan?
No, I mean, I
like his work. I don't.
No,
like
he's crazy
Brian.
cakes, right? And
Yeah,
that's
he's a
fine.
nut.
He's a nutty, but that's fine. It's funny. I won't say that I love Alan Moore. He's done several things that I really like.
Yeah.
Obviously, I like Watchmen. Obviously, I love Top 10.
You like Tom Strong, right?
I love Tom Strong.
Tom Strong.
That
His Supreme run was pretty good.
Supreme run was pretty decent.
Wildcats.
His run on Wildcats is goddamn phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, if you said name your top 10 writers, I don't know that he'd be in my top 10. But damn it if he hasn't written... there's very little that I can point to where I'm like, oh no, I can't read that. I'd rather read any Alan Moore over any Grant Morrison, as an example. The only thing Alan Moore has probably written that I just actively disliked was Promethea.
Yeah.
And I liked the concept. He just went really magic and really kind of off the crazy Alan Moore higgledy-piggledy.
For me, it's Promethea and then the Century League books. The League Century books. I don't really care for those.
No, I did enjoy them.
I like the original League story, but I don't love the rest of it. It's
it's a hit and miss, but it's, you know.
And also, that's the one part where I have trouble separating the artist and the artist and the art, because his kind of hypocrisy about people filming his movies and doing versions of his comic book, and then he does the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Kevin O'Neill artwork.
His artwork's pretty fantastic. Let's talk about top 10 though.
Yes.
Speaking of awesome artwork,
I will point out, John, this is a cool little Easter egg on the cover. Look at the fast food.
oh, is it Rorschach?
No.
No, what is it?
It's a pug.
It is a pug.
Mike Norton's.
It's Mike Norton's.
Nice.
So Xander Cannon and Gene Ha.
Oh, it's Battle Pug.
It is Battle Pug, and it is their fast food of the world.
That is
There
fantastic.
are so many in-jokes and references.
That
in
is
the
why it's taking me
billboards.
longer to get through it this time. So because the art is so blown up, and guys, let me tell you, this book is huge and fucking phenomenal.
Yes.
Because the art is so blown up that I'm poring over each page, looking at all the little in-joke side things. It's like Kingdom Come in that in every page there's just something. Like the scene where they're flying by in the car, and you can see the rooftop, and in the corner there's like a homeless-looking Johnny Storm lighting a fire in a forest.
There is actually like a Wolverine, like Vidal Sassoon, like hair treatment.
I'm telling you, it's great. The collection is fantastic. It is beautifully put together. I really liked all the extras that were in it.
Yeah, the breakdown of the first issue.
The full breakdown of the first issue. The character concept sketches were pretty phenomenal.
The Wolf Spider concept sketch is awesome.
Yes. I want to see more.
Yeah,
that was it.
I think I got spoiled a little bit on some of the other Absolute editions, like New Frontier, where you actually had Darwin Cook do like a breakdown and do cliff note and footnotes and stuff like that.
That was a good.
And I would love, but I know DC doesn't. Alan Moore hates DC, so we'd never get that.
Right.
I'm missing that from this, but I do like the breakdowns, the character sketches, all the covers, some promotional artwork. But you're really getting this for everything in one place.
Yeah.
And
it's a beautiful
oversized.
collection.
I'm gonna be honest. I've never read Top 10,
It's great.
and I feel like I should have now that I'm flipping through this.
Well, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It takes place in a city where everybody has a superpower.
Tons of people have superpowers. Yeah, everybody's got superpowers, and it's policing that world. I mean, it really is a very simple concept. If you like police procedurals, if you like superheroes, you got chocolate, my peanut butter. You got peanut butter, my chocolate, and it's two great
full
tastes.
of great
Tastes together.
characters.
Yeah, well written, good character concepts. He's handling a very large cast, and he manages to give all of them personality, and he manages to give them all kind of their moments. And you don't feel like, oh, this character, I wish they had more, whatever, I wish I knew more. No, you kind of get enough of everybody. He handles them all really well.
Come on, it's got the son of Godzilla.
Yes. It does have the son of Godzilla, which is awesome. For me, bombastic seal of approval. I couldn't have been happier with this collection.
I actually have to agree with that. The seal of approval, it is...
It's damn near perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I will maybe agree with you that it would have been cool to have a few more extras. I would have loved something from Alan Moore in there.
But it's understandable.
But you got to give it a pass for that because Alan Moore hates DC.
Yep.
All it makes me hope is that they do a Tom Strong book as well.
It'd be nice.
I
I love this format.
Yeah.
This format for comics, while a hefty price tag, I mean, it is.
It is
Don't
a
get me wrong,
hefty
it's
price
$100.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it and the Absolute editions and the omnibus editions that Marvel does. I mean, they're always worth the price.
They are.
If you love the material, they're worth the price, and you can't help but love this material. I mean, I would go so far as to say, God, if you haven't read this, and you like police procedurals, and you like superheroes, I guarantee you're going to love this book.
Well, like I said, I'm flipping through it, and I'm like,
I just have a hard time. If you're a fan of those two things, I'm
kind of looking at a lot
I
of...
am a fan of those two things.
And I'm thinking a lot of Alan Moore's stuff, and a lot of it, I mean, it's great, but it's a lot of it's dour, kind of dark material. This is not dark. It's kind of hopeful.
This was the ABC line. It was really this phase of his career where he was just like, I want to be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Tom Strong, one of the reasons I love Tom Strong is it's just so damn fun. And this falls right in line with that. It's a really kind of fun story.
Oh, you have characters named Armageddon.
Armageddon, so good.
Oh god, that reminds me of some old Marvel characters.
It's really great. It's really great. The dog in the robot suit.
Kenlo.
Yes, love the book. Couldn't be happier with it.
So you guys give this a
Bombastic
seal of
yes.
approval.
Totally, 100%.
All right. Well, the next up, there's a book that you and I read, Nick. This is from Scott Snyder. This book is The Wake.
You should be jealous.
You should be.
I don't know why.
I haven't read it yet.
In other words, he's saying he meant to read it, he just hadn't gotten to it.
But this is
Sean Murphy, Scott Snyder. Listen, I didn't even know what the title was of this book. Someone just said Sean Murphy and Scott Snyder. And I was like, take my money.
Sean Murphy and Scott Snyder.
You know, somebody
in Pile of Poop.
Somebody was asking what it was, and I jokingly in the store, and I jokingly said it's an Irish Wake Underwater written by Scott Snyder, and he kind of looked at me just like, what? And the guy behind him just burst out laughing. I'm like, no man, it's not an Irish Wake Underwater, but I wanted it to be. Anyways.
Sean Murphy would have drawn the shit out of it, that's all I know.
You know, a customer of mine came in today with a Punk Heart Jesus t-shirt.
Yeah.
Apparently you can buy those on his website.
You son of a bitch, stop telling me these things exist!
But yes, you should buy this.
But I think it's interesting because the Wake, it starts off in the future.
Yep.
And I don't remember how...
Well, it's the beginning starts in the future and the end starts...
So wait, what is the book about? Give me the log line. Give me the quick capsule.
Imagine James.
Concept.
Actually, I can give you the summary that is on Comixology for the book. This would be the pitch for the book.
Okay.
When the Department of Homeland Security approaches marine biologist Lee Archer for help with a new threat, she finds herself plunged into the depths of the Arctic Circle to a secret underwater oil rig where they discover something miraculous and terrifying.
That sounds a little bit like The Thing.
And
imagine sort of James Cameron, John Carpenter, The Abyss underwater.
But scary.
Is it as awesome as it sounds?
Yes.
That sounds awesome.
It's freaking awesome. Honestly, Scott Snyder, his pacing in this, starting out with a great little one-off scene, boiling into sort of a main character, Archer, who is dealing with her son. Very personal moments, but it gets you a good sense of those characters right off the bat.
And it's I think going back to the what we talk about the starting scene.
Yeah.
The thing that's amazing about it is it starts off 200 years before or later.
Yeah.
It basically starts off with the scene, and then it goes 200 years later or earlier before this happened, and it's like you don't know what the connection is yet, but they got 10 issues, and you know they're going to come to it.
Yep.
And I really want to know what's
10 issues of. That artwork is going to be awesome.
That artwork colored by a fantastic colorist, Matt Hollingsworth.
Hollingsworth kicks some
There are some
coloring
giant
ass.
splash pages in this of just insanity. I'm like, yeah, I want that on my wall. Can I have that on my wall?
Yeah, no. It's
Sean Murphy, can I give you $1,000 and you can just hang it on my wall?
That's great. Like he's that cheap.
But you hit it right on the nail when you say it's like Steven Spielberg meets
James Cameron, John Carpenter.
James Cameron meets John Carpenter. It's like someone took the setting of The Abyss and mixed it with the horror elements of The Thing. Not the villain of The Thing, but the horror elements of The Thing.
Because
the villain of The Thing is ourselves.
Yes, that's true. The main character is she deals with sounds like she focuses on like dolphin whale sounds.
Whale song.
And you know, she's a great main character. You see all this happening through her eyes, basically, and just the designs for the underwater stuff and what you find down there are great, of course, because Sean Murphy doesn't do bad things, as we've all found.
No, the designs are great, and the main character, I do like how easily they set you up with it. I mean, the main character, she's divorced. Her husband has custody of the kid because she's on. These, I guess, whatever her job requires her to be out in the ocean for long periods of time, so the court wouldn't award her custody rights to the child in that situation. So it's kind of, that ties into it a little bit.
The conversation is about
HDMI cables.
And I'm like, that's real.
Because the kid is coming visiting. He's like, you have the HDMI cables? She's like, I'm going to go get your HDMC cables later. He's like, no, HDMI, you have to get it like this, And
it's very believable.
Yeah.
And Snyder writes believable characters. Never once have I found anything that he's written that I feel feels out of place.
Yeah.
For a kid character or adult.
Severed was great.
Severed was fantastic.
Oh man, I loved Severed.
Yeah.
And I don't normally like horror comics, but it was awesome.
And I kind of feel like this is not that level of horror. Like, it's not like straight on horror throughout the whole thing, but there's going to be horror.
There's an element of horror.
There is horror in this.
And the pacing is fantastic. Honestly, I really want it all now. Give it to me in an original hardcover, giant size format. If they don't do that for this book, I'm going to be very sad at Vertigo.
So here's what I'm gonna rate this. I'm not gonna give it a bombastic seal of approval. I want to, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Because I want to know the rest of the story.
Sure,
is just
sure.
as
It's the
good.
first
So this
issue.
is getting this first issue is getting a full-on buy it.
Oh yeah, buy it.
I would even say if you hold off for when it's collected, I would even say even then buy it. Though by the time the last issue comes out, there's a good chance this may bump up a level. But for right now, with this issue, it's a full-on well worth the full price.
Oh yes, completely agree.
Buy it.
I really want to see, and this is the nerdy fanboy in me talking, right? But I really want to see Sean Murphy do some superhero comics. I mean, I love his indie stuff. He hasn't done a thing that I haven't liked.
Right.
Everything he has done, I own, I love, I want.
You even like Joe the Barbarian?
I love Joe the Barbarian, actually. I really did like Joe the Barbarian.
Which is probably the closest thing you're going to get to a superhero book.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Because it seems like he kind of doesn't want to.
He totally does indie stuff. He's an indie guy through and through, clearly. I really want to see him do some superheroes, man. Hey, his artwork kind of reminds me of, it's kind of a, I hate to say this, it's kind of a...
Stuart Eminem?
Well,
slightly.
for me it's a mix, but it reminds me of Silvestri, Jim Lee, X-Men stuff. And it could be just the texturing.
I take Silvestri out of it because...
it's better.
Because while... Silvestri makes everything pretty. He even makes his men pretty. That's weird.
Yeah, but I just mean, I don't know, the feel. For me,
Yeah,
the feel...
I love the angular faces and bodies that Sean Murphy gives, and it's just his line is fluid. It has so much energy in it.
Yeah.
And
He's a great artist. I mean, that's the thing. He's not going to do superheroes, and that's
has he
okay.
done superheroes?
I don't
Like I said, I think
so.
I want to say Joe the Barbarian is the closest thing we've gotten. I mean, I could be
Are you
wrong.
hitting the internet?
I'm
Always hitting
interneting
the
it.
internet.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
so-
honestly think he's done something. And I know he did that pinup of all the heroes, and he did the ABC. Didn't he do the ABC, the alphabet with all the different heroes? And
Maybe he
they
did.
asked him to stop because he didn't own the licenses, and he was
I
selling
think
them at
so.
cons.
I think you may be right.
Yeah.
Well, he did Batman Scarecrow Year 1 with
Oh,
Bruce
yeah.
Jones
Yeah.
miniseries. Hellblazer, that doesn't really count. No, that's...
Well, he's been a Vertigo guy.
Yeah,
That's
he's
kind
been
of all
around.
And also, I'm so glad that they're still doing books through Vertigo.
I think we're going to see less and less.
I know, I agree with you.
Burger's
Yeah.
gone, and
I agree with you,
And
but...
Kara Berger really was Vertigo.
Yeah.
she held it together.
Yeah.
And
But I think that they're going to try to keep it with like one a year.
I wonder if it's going to become more like Icon is to
Yeah.
Marvel, where it's really just, okay, we give our big guys just books, whatever, they can do whatever they
I think
want.
you're kind of right.
And
on
I
that.
hate that that's the case, because Vertigo is such a good imprint.
Yeah, no, I
I
agree.
hate to see it go away.
Used to be.
All right, so we do have one last book. This I think we've all read, right?
I believe so.
This is
I've read this.
Okay.
So this
What is this book?
This is X-Men #1 by
Brian Wood
Brian Wood.
and art by Olivier Coipel. Or
Yeah.
Coipel.
Yeah,
however.
Coipel. But yeah, no, this is interesting because the tagline is it's all women characters.
It's the all-female X-Men.
Boy, but you'll notice they didn't name that book X-Women. Woo! No, they didn't.
But
Terrified of that.
but they're all X-Men. So.
It's an X-Men book, not written by Brian Michael Bendis. I consider this a win.
All right, guys, what did we think of this book?
I liked it.
I
It's-
feel very indifferent.
You're indifferent to
I'm
it?
indifferent.
It felt like old school X-Men.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'm in the minority on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, well, here's the thing. I don't think it's.
It's not there yet.
It's not. I don't think it's like the best X-Men book in the market. Like I still say, Wolverine and the X-Men is still the better X-Men book because Bendis is not doing very well with the X-Men books, in my
Right.
opinion.
Well, yeah.
And I think it's interesting. The only thing I was lost on is the character that it's. I guess the
main villain?
I guess he's the villain, or the.
He was
female-
actually
I
the
don't-
sentient parasite from Morrison's X-Men.
See, I didn't read a lot of Morrison's X-Men, so I don't know that character.
Yeah, that was a weird thing for Wood to pull out of the woodwork.
Yeah,
I was
think,
like,
The woodwork. Well done, sir. Well done.
yes.
was that intentional?
No, actually, that wasn't intentional, but I'll take it.
Okay. All right. I was gonna say if it was intentional, well played. If not, still well played. But no, so that was really the only
Johnson
thing.
line. That was his name.
Yeah, and that was the big thing that kind of that brought the book down a little bit for me, was that I didn't know who that character was. I didn't know anything about that character, and so I'm completely lost. I did like that Jubilee is in this book, and she's not a vampire.
I was a fan of that.
Yeah,
You were-
I like her not being a vampire.
Yeah, because I was not happy with that character development.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's still a mutant at this point.
I don't know. They don't make it clear. I liked it. I love the art.
Yeah, no.
Well, Claypool's a great artist.
Yeah.
He's fantastic at pretty much anything he does. Wood never engaged me. I was all there. It's like 4 women and a baby, and I didn't feel like the characters got to do anything fantastic.
I'd give it a pass on that. It's a first issue. I thought that was a fair amount
But
of
I
action
think
considering
first
it was
issue-
the first issue.
First, they stopped the train.
Sure, but they did it looking cool.
I mean, that was the only piece of action, wasn't it? And then John Sublime, one of the scariest, most evil, almost destroyed the X-Men villains that they've faced. They're like, yeah, we'll take him under in custody, and I'm just like, I don't buy that. I just, there were things that I think Wood was just using to use, and I felt like, well, that doesn't feel very X-Men.
Yeah, well, I think it did feel a little X-Men in that the old school X-Men stuff. There wasn't action every book. Like
I would say to me it felt like
the most mundane, boring books. And that's not to say that it was a bad book.
Right.
It was just that was the issue. So I didn't mind there not being a ton of action in this book. Again, the two things I will say for me, the two things that bothered me was the beginning and the end of the issue, because in the beginning, like I said, it introduces a character that I knew nothing about because I'd never read that Morrison run. So, and they didn't really do a good job of explaining.
I will say that I read the Morrison run, but it had been a long time since I've read it, and so I was like, isn't that the guy? I kind of remember him. I sort of remember him, but not really.
Yeah.
And then the last page with the reveal, I guess the villain is this guy's sister.
Yeah.
And I guess she was inhabiting a baby
that was in care of Jubilee.
that was in the care of Jubilee, and then using the computer system transferred itself out of the baby and into.
I don't know much because I think she's new. I think it's I think it's Brian Wood's creation.
Yeah, but
right.
It's like,
so did she age herself? Did she
I think
take
she
over
inhabited a
someone's body? Was it Jubilee? Is
well,
that
no,
what it's supposed to be?
I thought that was. It kind of looks like Polaris or Polaris.
I think
She's got green hair and
Does
wearing
she
all
have green
green.
hair?
Yeah.
Is it Madam Hydra?
I don't know. It's just like she's just like, this body will do, and I'm just like, okay. I don't
Fair
know who
enough.
that is.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I don't understand what's going on.
I really wanted to like it because Wood can do great, personal stories about, really get in depth with characters, and I felt a lot of this was just surface stuff, and I don't know.
Okay. Well, what would you give?
Yeah, what's your review on this one? I think this is going to be our first disagreement on the review.
On the scale, I think I would have to go with Borrow It.
Okay.
I'm going to say buy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go with, and this is good. I'm actually gonna go with Borrow It because I don't think this first issue. I think it's good, and I think it's worth reading. There's not enough explained that I can't commit any money to it yet. Because if it continues along this lines, I'm going to be very much in the place that Nick here is in. But if there's a payoff, which I'm hoping the next issue is the payoff or whatever, then yeah, that would jump up a couple of
Yeah.
So for right now, I would say if you have a friend that has it, borrow it. Don't rush out. Maybe wait for a collection.
Borrow it from your friend who bought it, because I'm saying you should buy it.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I enjoyed it. For me, it was kind of like it felt like a fun, and I say this in a good way, not in the Rob Liefeld way, but more in the Jim Lee way. Like to me, it felt like a fun X-Men comic from when I was a kid, when I was a teenager or whatever. And those comics weren't perfect either.
No.
It just, to me, it felt like X-Men. And that
Which
for me
is something that is very missing. That
was the biggest thing for me. It felt like the X-Men I used to read, and maybe that was just the Mohawk. I don't know, but it felt like the X-Men I used to read, and I was a fan of that. So
I
there
think,
you go.
and I think part of the reason I do give it a little bit of a pass is because it is better than Bendis' X-Men, which Bendis is writing 2 of the X-Men titles, and there's only 4 right now.
Well, I would say even pre-Bendis. Who was writing the main X-Men stuff right before him? Fraction did a run,
Fraction
which was
did a run.
pretty bleh,
Mike Carey did a run.
which was pretty bleh,
And Brubaker did a run.
which was pretty bleh.
Oh, it was better. It was worse than that.
Yeah, like there
Yeah,
you go.
you're
Like,
being kind to the Brubaker
You're saying,
think
well, right.
Brubaker
You're
would even agree.
you're sitting here hammering on Bendis, and I'm saying it's not a Bendis problem.
Well, I'm
It's
not
been
talking-
an ongoing problem for the X-Men for
I'm
a
not,
long
and
time.
when I bring up Bendis, I'm not doing it to specifically trash Bendis. I'm just talking about people who are writing X-Men books right now. And unfortunately, the only one I can think of outside of, again, Wolverine and the X-Men, which I really enjoy, Bendis is the only other writer that's writing an X-Men book right
Fair
now.
enough. Well,
And
that's not true.
he's
Brian
dropped-
Wood's writing one, and it feels like the X-Men to me, and
Yeah.
I'm saying buy it.
All
You guys are saying borrow it, and that is, and I get that. I don't. It wasn't a perfect book, but it kind of felt nostalgic to me, which is weird because it's a brand new book. But I
Yeah.
loved it.
Cool.
All right, well, that's the end of the episode.
That's it.
That's all of it.
We're done.
We're done. So now that you've heard our ratings and our rating system, tell us what you think of our rating system.
We'll post it, and you can,
I-
of course, rate your own things from now on. And
I
we'll,
expect chibi versions of us on fire.
That's right.
Yes. Chibi versions of us on fire. I don't know how. You know what? Come up with
Make it
little-
happen, people.
People draw chibi versions of us in regards
What's
to each.
chibi?
Chibi is like little.
Little tiny.
Oh, little tiny.
Little
Okay,
tiny.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an anime.
Oh,
reference
fair
there.
enough, fair enough. Oh, yeah, like in the, I know, like in Appleseed and stuff, they do
Yeah.
little
Yes.
tiny versions
Yeah.
with a tear
Yes.
or the sweat.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you please feel free to draw little drawings of us and this rating system, and we'll use them.
Of course we
We
will.
will use them in every
And
way
we'll make sure
possible.
that the seal of approval has been posted.
Yes.
We will.
But until then, website geekbombast.com. Check out bombastic commentaries while you're on there. Watch Super Mario Brothers. I want people to watch that movie for some reason.
Bob Hoskins would love it if we did.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't know. You might want people to forget about that movie.
I know he'd like to forget about that movie. But other than our website, you can find us on iTunes, where you can subscribe to get the latest 2 episodes of this podcast here on iTunes right now. So if you want more than 2 episodes, go to the website. But we're also on Facebook, where
Yes.
we answer your questions just like we did today, like we always do. And we'll be posting stuff on Facebook as the week
You
goes
can message
on.
us directly on Facebook,
We're
or you
also-
can email us.
You can email us. We're also on Twitter.
Yes. At
Everyone
Geek
forget-
Bombast.
Yes.
And on email at geekbombast@gmail.com.
That is correct.
Yeah, all of those things are accurate.
And having said all of that,
Holy crap.
I'm John Sitton.
He's Johnson.
I'm Nick Butt.
He's Nick.
That guy's Rod Mann.
That's me, Rodman.
That's Rod Nunley, yeah. We're out.